Welcome back to class. Today our focus may not seem that positive or optimistic, but it's realistic. We'll talk about the challenges in entrepreneurship. We'll split this into two parts here. The first part about psychological struggles, the second part about material sacrifice. So first here with this image, this may look fun to you. It looks fun to many people. Not my young kids, but to many people it looks fun. It's often used to describe the very high highs and the very low lows of entrepreneurship. It's related to quotes you hear in some parts of the world where the weather changes frequently, where some say, look, if you don't like the weather, just wait a few minutes, right? As if it'll just change very quickly. And that's what happens, I think, often on the entrepreneurial path. Uncertainty and ambiguity define entrepreneurship. Now, in this image, you've got a road that branches out to two. You get two choices, two very clearly defined choices. That is not representative of what happens in entrepreneurship. You don't know how many choices there are. You don't know which choices there are, and they go in many, many different directions. So if you like predictability, this path may not be for you. If you like black and white, if you cannot tolerate gray, lots of gray area, if you will, this path may not be for you. However, that I would say that those characteristics did describe me at one point, and it's not the path I'm on now and have been on for a number of years. I think what happens over time is that you develop trust that things will work out, partly, or maybe entirely, because you trust your team, you trust the expertise, your expertise and that of your team, and the hard work you're putting into the venture and learning along the way. Entrepreneurship creates self-doubt, and I think this is true even for the most confident people in ordinary situations. So I would ask you to think back to those entrepreneurship quotes to inspire and instruct in the early part of the first module for this course. Read those frequently. Find others like those to read frequently. The point is, mindset is really, really important. In fact, I just ordered another book on the topic today. You're never quite done. It's always good to refine your perspective, your mindset, because it does influence the outcomes. Entrepreneurship can be a lonely path, right? If you're blazing a new trail, uncharted waters, etc., creating things that have never perhaps been created in exactly the form that you're creating, that can be unique, which is certainly positive, and also, as I say, also lonely. Now, this has not been my experience because I've had great partners in creating my or our ventures. So it's good to have or to find co-founders, other team members, advisory board members, mentors, coaches, etc., to share this path with you. Not to mention understanding and supportive family members, spouses, etc. And now for material sacrifices. Fun, fun, fun. So wouldn't it be nice, right, to eat out at places like this a few times per week? That is certainly not the case with entrepreneurship. I certainly have eaten my share of oatmeal, also very cheap, not quite the ramen noodles, but very cheap, as well as what we call Brenner, right? So breakfast for dinner. But the point is, it isn't sacrifice, of course, for sacrifice's sake. It's sacrifice in the name of a greater opportunity, a greater vision, whether that's flexibility to spend time with your family, your friends, on causes you care about, or whether it's the sacrifice in order to support causes you care about through that business, or to generate wealth for yourself, your family, and your community. More material sacrifice. No year-end bonuses, health insurance, or matching retirement savings. These would be perhaps expected at many corporate or institutional jobs where you're an employee, right? The health insurance piece, perhaps more of an American concern, but regardless, again, these are sacrifices that you would make in exchange for the hope of a greater good, greater set of benefits on the other side. Not permanent sacrifice, temporary sacrifice. No saving for retirement or kids' college funds. So the idea is that the best investment can be in yourself, in your business, and the returns can be greater than what you would have realized by investing in, say, the stock market, the bond market, for your retirement, or to help pay for your kids' education. I would say the other benefit too, on a related note, is that your kids can benefit, can get their own education from seeing you choose the entrepreneurial path. Yes, planning, the best laid plans, right? So compared to your plans, your business may take 2 times the amount of time, double the amount of time, triple, quadruple perhaps, and only produce 25% of the success. Now, I almost laugh when I look at this slide here, because this was so true for me in my first venture, for my partner and I in our first venture. Our timeline was absolutely unrealistic. But as they say, if entrepreneurs knew how hard it was to create a new business, many of them would never take the leap. So, thanks for naivete. Key conclusions. Entrepreneurship is not easy, but it's worth it. Understanding that deeply before you invest too much time or money is very important. You're not the only entrepreneur in history. You may feel like it sometimes, but you're not. So learn from others. That is, learn from others in the past, right? "Quote unquote," stand on their shoulders, on the shoulders of past giants. Trade tips with peers, many that are developing businesses right alongside you that you don't know yet would also love to trade kind of best practices with you as well. Finally, the challenges of entrepreneurship require that you take extra good care of your health. This could include meditation, exercise, journaling, healthy food, and strong social networks to create the kind of resilience that you need to weather the ups and downs. Finally, questions for you. So again, take out your pen and paper and write some of these down. Which entrepreneurship challenges worry you the most? What are 2 to 3 ways that you will address these concerns? The second one, how will you improve your daily health practices today so that you're more resilient to the entrepreneurship roller coaster, which is likely ahead? And also, who can you get to support you, hold you accountable, right, to the answers to all these questions, but especially that second question there. Finally, which authors and speakers will you turn to for motivation along the path? There's a constant need for motivation. Here are two thought leaders, practitioners in the space, Tony Robbins and John Lee Dumas, that I have found particularly helpful. There are dozens of others. Find yours and go to them frequently. Great. We'll see you on the next.